Hello everyone, I'm Milo and welcome to my town. Welcome to a new episode of the Visual Novel Corner. So far in this series I have covered a slightly old game that I felt wasn't all that known, and then a tale of one of the most popular franchises in the genre. Today, let's switch it up a bit and discuss about a brand new release. So let me talk about Master Detective Archives Raincoat. Master Detective Archives Raincoat, or simply Raincoat for short, is a visual novel, adventure and detective mystery game developed by Spike Chunsoft and Tokyo Games, which was released on June 30th of 2023. This is the newest title from the creator of the Danganronpa franchise, Kazutaka Kodaka, and I'd like to specifically mention this as his previous work, as this new title carries the mantle of becoming the spiritual successor to the Danganronpa series. Raincoat is not exactly the next thing this director did after Danganronpa V3, the last mainline title in the franchise. In fact, he had other game projects like World's End Club in 2020, which I've yet to play, and also the multimedia project of Tribe 9, which is like a baseball themed thing. An anime was released last year and there is an upcoming game as well. It was mobile exclusive until a few weeks ago when a PC port version got announced. So Kodaka and his team had their hands in other stuff in the meantime. But as I was saying, Raincoat seems to take the mantle as the successor to the Danganronpa series, as it sports pretty much an equal art style, and it being a mystery focused game, kind of showing the desire from this team to continue creating these types of stories. As a heads up so there are no worries, I will be mainly talking about the overall plot with very little spoilers and footage mainly from the first chapter of the game and one of the principal areas to explore in the subsequent chapters. I'll make sure not to show any sort of spoilers in the video itself. The game begins with our protagonist waking up in some sort of storage room. However, he seems to have amnesia as he fails to recall how he got there or even who he is. After reading a letter that was on his possession, he finds out that his name is Yuma Kokohead, a member of the World Detective Organization, an entity that operates worldwide and has master detectives working alongside their lines. These master detectives are called as such because they possess extraordinary abilities, quite literally nearing superpower levels. They use set abilities which tend to have a focus on crime and mystery solving to do their job. Yuma's directive instructions send him on the way to the autonomous zone of Kanai Ward, a mysterious city where the rain never stops, that has been taken over and controlled by the Amaterasu Corporation, a worldwide company that rooted in the city and helped it develop. There seem to be many mysteries surrounding the city, as access to it is heavily restricted. Yuma's task is to assist on investigating the many unknowns to be found in this place, with the help of the other master detectives that are heading to it, and the chief of the only detective agency left in the city. In addition, early into the first chapter, Yuma finds out that the reason for the loss of his memories is because he is being haunted by a death god named Shinigami. This little helper of his manifests as a familiar ghost, and it's allegedly bound to Yuma because he made a pact with her to gain access to her power. In exchange for this, his memories were taken from him. Yuma is confused as to why he would do that, but together they become partners. This is the main premise of the game. I won't go into any details of the story, but it develops as more mysteries arise in the City of Eternal Rain, with the main goal of finding and exposing Kanai Ward's ultimate secret. Now, I know this will sound a bit weird, but the game may not be properly described as a visual novel. I'm sure you must be shocked. Why is it part of the series called the Visual Novel Corner then? And to that I say, it's true. I'd say the themes of the game fit more the description of adventure, mystery and even action. However, not only is it heavily narrative focused, but also given the history of works from the team behind the game, I still like to qualify it as a VN. This game is truly an evolution from the style of game that Danganronpa was as it's brought into a new dimension and scope. The gameplay of the game can be narrowed down into two principal aspects. The first is the free roam form. In between certain story heavy sections, Yuma is able to move around some of the different areas of Kanai Ward. You can explore these three-dimensional spaces and find certain points of interest or characters to talk to. There is a very good level of detail that went into these areas, And considering that the Danganronpa games use some simple 3D environments with characters represented as 2D sprites, having a full living and breathing city with different areas of it is a very refreshing improvement from this studio. While you are on this state, sometimes you may have found certain side quests, or requests as the game calls them. These can be little diversions that can help you soak more of the world. Some of them can be quite tragic on the topics they board. Overall, they serve as an additional motivator for the player to explore the city of Kanai. A few of them even have alternate endings, some having better rewards depending on what choices were made while fulfilling them. The reward is given as detective points, a metric used to level up your detective rank. I will later discuss about the use for this. Also, exploring almost every interactable spot or conversation likewise gives you these points, so it is worth going out of the way to find them. Even the same interactable places may have different conversations tied to them as the game progresses. So seeing something new is something I enjoyed as I went out to seek this chapter after chapter. The requests are only available to be completed in the chapter they appear in, so I would recommend to do them as soon as you find them. They can help as a little distraction in between the major story developments. At some point during the chapters, Yuma will find himself in some sort of case, where the investigation phase will begin. Your task is to gather clues that can lead you into finding out the truth of the case, and figuring out its culprit. This works relatively the same as free roam. Go around the places of interest and gather some clues by investigating important spots or talking to people, gathering important solution keys along the way. After you do this for a while, Shinigami can come in for help by using her power. You see, her special ability has her turning into her true form to summon the Mystery Labyrinth, a place that exists in another realm, different from the real world. When she summons it, a particular mystery will manifest as a physical space that Yuma can explore, while everything in the real world remains frozen in the meantime. This is the second phase of the gameplay you will find. As Yuma progresses through the Mystery Labyrinth, Shinigami will serve as his guide. The labyrinth is an accurate manifestation of a mystery, and at its core lies the truth. By going through it and solving mysteries along the way, you'll eventually find out the truth of the case. The labyrinth itself consists of several ever-shifting hallways where discussions about the mystery will take place. Eventually, this will be interrupted by mystery phantoms, versions of the people in the real world who may be concealing the truth, and as such, manifest in these really crazy and altered designs of themselves. Using the solution keys you have found on the investigation, a reasoning deathmatch will begin. You have to, quite literally, avoid the statements from the phantoms that are thrown your way as a form of attack, and counter any contradicting statements that they may have with the right evidence. They are trying to conceal the truth, so showing them reason will defeat them and allow you to proceed. These sections are pretty similar to the non-stop debates in Danganronpa, but the whole action aspect of them makes it a bit more engaging. You have real threats of damage coming your way that you have to avoid. There is a small complaint I have with this, and it's that sometimes the depth perception for the statements was a little hard to tell, and as such I'd end up taking damage while trying to dodge at the near arrival, which actually give you bonus points for your report at the end. Anyway, you'll encounter plenty of mystery phantoms along the way. Countering their statements will help you uncover parts of the case, and with the understanding of the new facts, you can continue pursuing the truth behind them. There are a few other types of minigames or side activities that you'll find in a mystery labyrinth. One of the most common ones is quick time deduction, or concentrate. You'll find yourself in some sort of frantic situation, like a branching path with a minecart or some crumbling terrain. You'll be presented a question for the current mystery and some options to answer it in a quick time event-like fashion. Choose correctly and you can move on. Choose wrong and you'll lose some HP, but you get to retry. Solving this will often help you find your reason to a current mystery that you're facing. The other type of game you'll find is Shinigami Puzzle. Whenever there's a situation where you feel stuck and need a new clue to proceed, Shinigami will enter a barrel and find herself on some sort of island. You'll be presented with a question that, if answered, will aid the current situation. The goal here is to spell out a word that completes the sentence. Do that and Shinigami will blast away the blocker you are facing and allow you to proceed in the labyrinth. In case you fail to figure out the word on your own from the letters you see, there will be some solution keys that you can give to Shinigami. They should give you some clues to figure out what the answer is, though some of them may be completely unrelated to the question at hand, and instead will damage you and make you lose time to solve the puzzle. I've been mentioning damage here and then over these part segments, so let me actually explain about the skill system. As I had mentioned beforehand, doing different actions or exploring interactable spots will give you detective points. Once you get enough, you'll level up your detective rank and earn a skill point and a memory cap. These are later used for the skill tree to allow you to purchase and equip different skills to aid you in the mystery lab. From increasing your HP to making certain aspects of some of the minigames easier on you, like removing wrong keys from Shinigami puzzle as an example. You need SP to buy each of the nodes, and then the appropriate amount of memory caps to actually equip the skills. This is in a way how you control the difficulty for the game. If you want to equip skills that will make the action and logic easier, you can do so, or if you're like me, you can completely ignore this aspect and rely on your abilities of logic and reaction. I only really equipped the HP upgrades, but overall they never really made that much of a difference. Well, so far I've mentioned the grand majority of ways that the game presents. There are a few additional ones that I'd rather not spell out completely in here, but let's just say that nearing the completion of a case, you'll usually have to argue with the true culprit in a different manner, as they try to deny all of your deductions. And in the end, you'll have to do a recap of the entire case, similar to the way it's done in the Danganronpa titles. On top of all that I've mentioned so far, almost every chapter also introduces some unique way of gameplay that is just unique to it. Whether it's some sort of puzzle solving or a new type of gameplay and controls, having these sections was really refreshing as it gave new avenues for the gameplay on a heavy narrative focused game, which was rather amusing. As you go around the city, sometimes you'll find some glowing blue spots that when collected unlock a new section on the Gum Show Gap. These are small side episodes that Yuma has with some of the main characters of the game. Going into the menu for each allows you to see a general clue for the location of the figurine. They are rather vague as to not spell out the exact location, but many of them stand out a lot when you go into the places that they are hidden. Others not so much, so the clues help on finding them. Once you've collected a figurine that corresponds to a character, you can read a side episode that features them. They usually come with a multiple choice question for Yuma's response on the conversation, though overall they don't really affect the final outcome. Two of them are just wrong or funny responses that will eventually converge into the correct option in the conversation. I would have liked it more if at the very least each answer led to a slightly different outcome, but either way, these mini episodes allow you to see the extra sides of the characters that you may not get to see entirely in the main game, so I enjoyed them a lot. Now let's talk about some of the aspects of the game itself. It is completely voice acted. All major conversations have a voice cast narrating them. Only a few instances like examining random objects don't have them, which makes complete sense, but almost everything else in the game is fully voice acted. Thinking back, and if I recall correctly, even on Danganronpa games, only the principal aspects like the non-stop debates were actually voice acted, so I enjoyed having almost everything in the game narrated. On that point, I will mention that I played the game on the English dub version. The vocal performances are very good and fit the characters to a T, but the one complaint I have is that during some cutscenes, the lip syncing is pretty bad. A phrase or statement may end like 3 or more seconds before the character animations are done talking. It would have been good if the dub version would have accommodated for this, as it feels pretty off-putting on certain parts. But that aside, the performance itself is great. Even some random NPC characters during the different chapters will be fully voiced. I'm sure that many other games may play generic lines or sound for some of these characters, but they went all out and provided voices for one-off characters, so I appreciate that a lot. I had already mentioned that the art style is pretty much inherited directly from the one standardized in Danganronpa. However, the scope of this game allows them for more diverse types of characters to be made on this style, as before we mainly had teenagers. This game can have more varied styles of characters, from children to adults and even older people. It was great to see this art style expanded from the usual conventions we are used to see from the usual art director. Likewise, the music has Danganronpa vibes going around for it. Some tracks borrow elements from popular ones on the Danganronpa series, but are modified to make their own identity here, paying homage to what they were inspired from. The OST is very enjoyable and sets the mood right in each situation. Now let's discuss about some of the technical aspects of the game. As of right now, it is only an exclusive title to the Nintendo Switch. As such, let's say it's not the prettiest looking title out there. However, I believe they did a really good job with it. The models are good quality, the main characters are well detailed, and despite most of the other NPCs defaulting to a samey style with a lack of specifics to make the non-recurring characters more ambiguous, they also perfectly fit onto the world. The environments feel alive and are well detailed, with each area feeling distinct from the others, respecting their in-game lore. The Switch was quite the enjoyable platform to play this game on. I ended up playing most of it on handheld mode, given the heavy narrative nature. Sitting on a couch or a bed and following the story at your own pace was quite the enjoyable experience. On docked it looks crispier, but playing on handheld felt great. I'm sure that the game will eventually release on other platforms, and when it does, it will likely look prettier than it already does. I am aware that some people may be off-put by the current exclusivity, but I do quite enjoy these types of games on the Switch. When you are in the mood for it, it feels better to sit down on your place of comfort rather than on your computer desk. A final thing to share, an additional software was provided on my physical edition of the game, as a download code for a short novel about the chief of the Nocturnal Detective Agency. The name of the story is How to Be a Master Detective, a Yako for Your Case. This novel predates the main game by several years, and it can be enjoyed either before or after you play the main game. Certain in-game dialects even reference the events of the novel, so it is fun to notice the parallels and expand the character of Chief Yako by reading the novel. It took me around 45 minutes to read, so it isn't insanely long, but a very welcome bonus that I wasn't even expecting. That is pretty much everything I can discuss about the main game. There is actually DLC for the game that's gonna be available in waves, some of which have not released yet. From what I can tell from the reading of the shop description, it seems that you'll actually be taking control of some of the other master detectives and have some sort of story revolving around them. However, I haven't bought or played them yet, so as what for the video entails, I won't cover them. I'll most likely wait for all the content to be released so I can experience them all at once, and maybe make a follow-up video, one where I can probably discuss spoilers of the entire thing. Master Detective Archives Raincoat managed to deliver an excellent mystery game that I had been craving for after last year's AI The Somnium Files sequel. It has the potential to expand itself as a series, as the world that was built for the title has many possibilities. They can continue with the same protagonist, or maybe use a different one. It may even be a prequel, depending on what the creators decide. If you're a fan of mystery, then give this game a shot. I'm sure it will be worth your time. The game took me about 60 hours to fully complete, which is very respectable for a visual novel. Danganronpa games would usually take me about 80 hours to go through until I reach the credits. It's clear that the Mystery Labyrinth segments are way shorter in comparison to non-stop debates, but due to the graphical improvement and the added layer of dimension, Raincoat manages to convey more visual information to you, which makes for a different type of experience. The compensation in hindsight is a fair trade in my opinion. The game is priced at a full price release of $60 on the standard edition. While this can be a steep price for some, for the quality the game has and the reputation of the team behind it, I personally think it's worth it. If anything, these games always go on sales after a few months and keep having recurring ones, so if you want to wait for a cheaper price, you can also do that. I think that's all that I have for today, so I hope that you enjoyed the video and can give this game a try as well. Feel free to check out some of my other visual novel corner videos, you may find something else worth your interest. I'm currently playing through another very interesting VN, so I may cover it in a video soon. With all that said, don't forget, you'll always be welcome in my town. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.